There were only 3 rules: draw the circle, light the candle, stay silent. We followed them. Almost. Now they're gone, and something keeps knocking at my door. I haven't answered yet. Eli was 19. Freshman year, new campus, new town. The kind of place where the fog hangs low in the morning and the woods start just behind the last row of dorms. Upstate New York, quiet, remote, mostly forgotten. It had been raining for 3 days straight, steady, heavy, the kind of rain that settles into the walls. The college was built on the edge of a forest locals call the Hollow. They say it was once part of an old settlement, abandoned. No one really talks about why. People just call it cursed. That night, Eli and 3 others, Claire, Juno, Marcus, were in the campus library. They weren't looking for anything, just killing time, waiting out the rain. And that's when Marcus found the book. No title on the spine, thin, bound in cracked leather. Tucked between its last pages was a loose sheet of paper, handwritten, faded, but the ink was still legible. It wasn't an essay or notes or a list. It was instructions, a ritual, no title, no date, no author. Just a header, scrawled in uneven block letters. The 3 must gather, the 1 must not speak. The steps were oddly simple. Draw a circle using ash, light a black candle, sit, wait, and above all, do not break the silence before the candle dies. That line was underlined 3 times. They laughed at it, thought it was some kind of prank, or an old campus legend someone printed out to scare freshmen. Juno suggested filming it, posting it as a dare. Marcus was already texting people to come watch. But Eli, he kept looking at the edges of the paper. Faint markings, symbols that looked burned in rather than drawn, and for just a second he swore he felt the page pulse, just once, like a breath. But he said nothing. And when Juno asked, "Are we doing this or what?" he nodded. They had no idea what they were letting in. They waited until midnight. Marcus's basement apartment was perfect. Low ceilings, no windows, concrete floor. The rain hadn't stopped. It tapped on the roof in waves, louder with each passing hour, as if it were building to something. They turned off the lights, formed a circle. Marcus had scraped together ashes from his fireplace. Juno brought a black candle from the metaphysical shop downtown. Claire read the instructions out loud. Then they each stepped into the circle, sitting cross-legged, facing inward. The flame flickered between them. At first, silence. Just the candle, just the rain. And then, something changed. It was subtle, the kind of shift you don't notice at first. The sound outside disappeared. No more rain, no creaking, no fridge hum, just dead quiet. So quiet Eli could hear his pulse in his ears. Claire broke first. She whispered, "Okay, this is creepy as hell." The candle flickered violently, then flared. For one breathless moment, the room filled with light. Unnatural, bluish, vibrating. Then darkness again. The candle snuffed itself out. They scrambled to turn the lights on. The breaker had tripped. Claire laughed, but it was forced. Juno stared at the spot where the candle had been. Marcus said it was probably just cheap wax. But Eli hadn't said a word. He was still listening. And in that silence, for just a moment, he heard something breathing with them. It was slow, wet, close. But when the lights came back on, there was nothing. They laughed it off, blamed it on nerves. Marcus posted a blurry picture of the ash circle on Instagram. Claire joked about summoning a Victorian ghost. Then they all went home. The rain started again the moment Eli stepped outside. Harder this time. And it followed him all the way back to the dorm. At 3:12 a.m., Eli's phone buzzed. One message from Claire. "There's someone in my room." No emoji, no sarcasm, just the words. He sat up instantly, heart pounding. Juno texted seconds later, "I'm on my way." Marcus was already driving. They arrived within 5 minutes. Claire's dorm room was unlocked. The hallway was silent, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, but no one in sight. Eli was the one who turned the knob. The door creaked open. No one was there. No signs of a struggle. No overturned furniture. Just Claire's phone, face down on the floor. Still recording. Instagram Live. He picked it up. The screen was black, no video, but the audio was still on, and they heard it, breathing. Wet, close, rhythmic. Juno took a step back. Marcus scanned the closet, the window, nothing. Her shoes were next to the bed, still wet from the basement, lined up perfectly. Her coat was hanging by the door. Her laptop was still open, a half-drunk cup of tea on the desk. It was as if she had simply stopped being there. The police came later that morning, took statements, asked about her mental health, suggested she might have run. said she probably left in the night, but they never explained the locked window, or the shoes, or the live video that ended exactly 6 minutes after they entered the room. The last thing heard before the audio cut off? A whisper, not Claire's, a woman's voice, soft, distant. 1. The police assumed she ran, but we knew better. She broke the rule, and she was the first. That night, none of them slept. Eli replayed the audio over and over again, trying to make sense of the silence. The only thing he heard was breathing. The next morning, the rain hadn't stopped. It hit the windows harder now. Constant, heavy. The kind of rain that doesn't clean anything, just buries it. Marcus didn't come to class. Juno kept checking her phone like Claire might suddenly message back. But Eli, he went to the library. He wanted to find the book again, the one with the ritual. But the shelf where they found it was empty. Not just missing a book, the entire section was gone. A gap where 5 or 6 volumes had been pulled. When he asked the librarian, she frowned. Said that aisle hadn't been cataloged in years. Said they hadn't carried anything on ritual folklore since the early 90s. But Eli knew what he saw. That book was real, and someone had taken it back. That night, around 11:40 p.m., there was a knock on Eli's dorm door. He opened it. No one was there, just a folded piece of paper on the floor. The ritual instructions, same handwriting, same faded edges. But this time, new lines had appeared, written in the same ink but fresher, almost wet. He unfolded it slowly. 3 new lines. The silence binds, the candle protects, her name summons. Eli called Juno immediately. She answered on the first ring. I got it too, she said. Marcus hadn't responded to either of them. They met in the dining hall, late. No one else around. Eli laid the note on the table. Juno brought hers, identical. Same paper, same message. Something was rewriting the ritual. Juno said something Eli couldn't shake. We left it unfinished. We invited her in, but didn't stay to close the door. Marcus finally messaged the group chat. Don't respond. She's reading. That was the last thing he ever sent. The next morning, his car was found at the edge of the hollow, engine still warm. Keys in the ignition. But no footprints, no tire tracks, no Marcus, just a damp sheet of paper on the passenger seat. 1 word written on it, 2. They went back, same basement, same circle. But this time it was just Eli and Juno. Marcus was still missing. Claire was gone. The rain outside was louder than before, slamming into the roof like fists. And this time, no one was laughing. They shut off their phones, sealed the room, sat cross-legged in the ash again, facing each other. The black candle sat between them, same one from the first night. Somehow it hadn't melted much. Eli struck a match, lit the wick. It burned clean, steady. For a while, nothing happened. Just the rain, just the flickering flame. Then, right at the halfway mark, the flame turned blue. No wind, no draft, just a color shift, and everything went cold. That's when Eli heard it, whispering. Not in the room, inside the walls. Too muffled to make out, but it moved. From the left to behind him, then back again. Juno didn't say anything. She was staring at the candle, her face pale, blood suddenly running from her nose. She didn't flinch, didn't wipe it away. Eli reached for her, but she grabbed his wrist hard. Don't move, she whispered. The whispers got louder, closer. The sound changed, started to echo, not like a voice, but like it was bouncing inside something hollow. Then the candle's flame rose nearly 6 inches high, a flash of light, and then silence. No rain, no whispers, just the smell of iron. Eli turned to look at the door, and for just a second he thought he saw a shadow beneath it. Not a foot, not a person, a shape, something crouched low, waiting. He reached for the candle, snuffed it out with his fingers. The room plunged into darkness. Juno didn't speak, not at first. They sat there in the dark, breathing, listening. Then she whispered, "It's too late." Eli asked what she meant. She turned her head, eyes wide and empty. "We spoke her name," she said. "Not out loud, but we thought it, and that's enough." That night Eli couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the whisper again. Not in his ears, in his bones. The next morning, Juno was gone, her dorm bed still made. Her boots damp and folded neatly at the door. Her coat still dripping on the hook. Eli called her. No answer. He texted, waited, called again. Nothing. By noon, he went to campus security. They checked the cameras. No footage of Juno leaving the building. No exit. No entry. She simply vanished. The timestamp on the last hallway camera she appeared in? 3:07 a.m. Same minute, Claire messaged the group. Same minute, Marcus's car was found at the edge of the forest. Eli went back to the basement. He stood in the center of the ash ring, alone. He didn't light the candle, just stood there, listening. And he heard it again, whispering, inside the walls. But now the voice wasn't muffled, it was clear. And it was Juno. She said one word, soft, measured, 3. Eli backed out of the room and closed the door. That night, he didn't go home, didn't go back to campus. He drove for hours through the rain. Every time he passed a wooded stretch of road, he felt it. The urge to pull over, like something calling him off the pavement, something familiar. He stopped at a diner just past midnight, sat in the far corner, tried to eat. The waitress walked over, mid-50s, worn hands, looked at him like she already knew. "It's the Hollow, isn't it?" she said. Eli didn't answer. She poured his coffee, then leaned down. "They used to come out of there, you know, before the town paved over it." Eli asked her what came out. She paused, looked toward the rain, then said, "It doesn't matter what you believe. The minute you light that candle, she knows you're there." Eli left before finishing the coffee, and as he stepped outside, the rain stopped. No wind, no movement, just that familiar cold. He looked down at his boots and saw 3 sets of wet footprints, not walking away, walking toward him. Eli drove back to campus at dawn. He hadn't planned to. He wasn't thinking anymore, just reacting. Like something had taken over the part of him that used to make decisions. The streets were empty. The rain had started again, soft but steady. He walked into the basement without hesitation. It was cold, colder than before. The circle was still there. The candle sat in the middle, waiting. He didn't hesitate. He struck the match, lit the candle, and sat down, alone, in silence. At first, nothing, just the soft hiss of flame. And then, the door at the top of the stairs creaked, slowly, once, then footsteps, slow, deliberate, one step at a time. Down the stairs, Eli didn't turn. The air grew thick, damp. He could feel water pooling around him, but there were no leaks, just the floor growing wet. Then a sound behind him. Not footsteps, not breathing, a dragging sound, like something pulling itself across the concrete. He still didn't move. The candle flickered once, then again, then the flame turned black. Not out, just dark. A shadow passed over it, but there was nothing in front of him. Then her voice, right behind his ear, calm, soft, familiar. 4. Eli turned, and for the first time he saw her. Hair wet, skin pale and stretched, eyes hollow, like something had been scooped out of her. But it wasn't her shape that chilled him. It was that her mouth wasn't moving. The whisper was still coming from her, but she wasn't speaking, just staring. And then she reached for the candle, touched the flame with one finger, and it went out. The basement stayed dark, but Eli saw everything. Faces in the corners, Claire, Marcus, Juno, not screaming, not fighting, just watching. And then everything disappeared, except the sound of water dripping from nowhere onto nothing. He woke up in his bed. It was morning. The candle was gone. The ash ring was gone. The basement sealed, as if it had never been opened. Eli woke up in his own bed. Daylight was spilling in through the blinds. The storm had stopped. Everything felt normal, but something was off. His phone buzzed once, a single notification, one voice memo. Time-stamped 3:07 a.m. He hadn't recorded anything, but it was there. He played it, static, then breathing. And then Juno's voice, soft, tired, cracked. "I said her name, I'm sorry, nothing else." He checked his messages, no missed calls. Juno's contact was gone. Marcus's thread, empty. Claire's profile, deleted, like none of them had ever been in his phone or his life. The ash circle was gone, the ritual paper gone. Even the book wasn't in the library catalog anymore. Eli checked his camera roll. The group photo they took before the first ritual, it was just him, alone, sitting in the basement, smiling at the camera. The rain started again, slow at first, then harder. A knock, the doorbell. He looked through the peephole. No one, just an empty porch. But the mat was soaked. He opened the door slowly. No wind, no sound, just rain. He looked down. Footprints, small, wet, leading into the house, not toward the door. From it, he backed away, slowly, closed the door, locked it, and still, behind him, the faint sound of dripping. Eli moved out 2 days later. Different town, different name. No rain, but it didn't matter, because 3 nights after he left, he woke up to the sound of water, a slow drip, then a knock. No one outside, just footprints, on the inside, heading toward his bed. They say you have to speak her name, but what if thinking it was enough? Would you ever try a ritual like this? Comment below what you'd do if you found those footprints. And if you've ever heard a knock you shouldn't have, tell us. Before it's too late, like, subscribe, and whatever you do, don't break the silence.